Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome along to the weekend preview. We've got George Gorman, Andy Newton and Peter Michael to talk you through the best bets for the weekend's action, and we're going to dive straight into it. We're going to start at Aintree for the Pertemps Network Handicap Qualifier. Impostois is going to carry top weight, but he's a brother to a 3-mile novice hurdle winner for Gordon Elliott. He's won 3 of his 5 starts off a layoff of 60 days or more, and he's placed in the other 2. He was second in the Coral Cup, up £5, but he could very well improve for the step up and trip if he's ready to go. He might just outclass this field. JP McManus won this in 2020. He said 3 other horses make the frame in the last 10 years. I have a funny feeling he's going to win, George Gorman. He's a pretty decent price with one expect in Ireland to do so. Who are you with?
Yeah, for me, you've got a few of these that sort of chasers, sort of having another stab at hurdles. I think going up £4 for beating the real whacker over hurdles at Perth, it's probably a little bit steep for Chasing Fire, given that horse is, a confirmed chaser at this point. Kintara is actually off the same mark as when finishing second in the final for this race in 2024, which, again, will make him of interest if you had any idea how he was going to go now reverting to hurdling a year and a half later. I've just sort of ended up on the horse I think is the most solid and the most progressive in here, which is the Lord Maid. Only 6 runs over hurdles so far for the mare, and has shown very obvious improvement, stepped up to this sort of trip the last twice. I think 2 highest RPRs have been when tackling 2 miles 7.5 at Chepstow 2 starts ago, beating a length and a quarter, and last time when winning at Ayr in April, winning by 2 lengths over 3.5 a furlong. Tom Lacey's not in bad form either. I think 15% strike rate over the last 2 weeks and 62% runners to form. I just think that there's a lot of older horses in here. We sort of don't really know how they're going to turn out first time out. This horse is younger, should be ready to go, yards firing. And maybe not on recent runnings, but they might just be looking to pick up a few extra pounds to guarantee a place in the Pertemps with the Lord Maid.
Okay, Lord Maid is a 9-2 shot currently. Impostois 8-1. Andy Newton, who are you with?
I agree with George about Chasing Fire. I think that's probably just a little bit flattered with that the real whacker run last time out. That didn't exactly advertise it in the Charlie Hall last time, did it? That Kintara is probably just worth mentioning, only because the strike rate of that of Mel Rowley over hurdles at Aintree is pretty insane. It's something like 43% strike rate. But this is the only course and distance winner in the race, but it is on a bit of a recovery mission. Hasn't really done anything since I think 2023 it last won a race, and that was here at Aintree. So if you can forgive that, like I say, trainer does well here. Lord Maid is interesting, probably one of the ones on the up. The Sam Thomas camp are going well at the moment as well. They're on like a 60% strike rate. So last year's Ladbrokes Trophy winner Katie Dory is probably interesting, but you'd think maybe, run over fences later down the line. And I'm with you, to be honest with you, Emmet. I think one of these JP horses might just go in. Impostois, the fresh record for me is the angle. One first time out, like you said, in 2023 and last year in 2024. Needs a career sort of best off this mark and, 12 stone. But, Hendo hasn't quite sort of kicked in yet, but you feel like it's gonna be soon. This week or next weekend, you're going to see a lot of his runners out, and he's going to start firing in some winners, Henderson. And even though this one might have a bit of a target later down the season, like you say, it doesn't look the greatest race, and it might just kick in first time out like it's done for the first 2 seasons. So, last 2 seasons. So, Impostois for me.
Hopefully, it's great minds think alike, and not fools seldom differ. Peter Michael, who do you like?
Yeah, to be honest, as we're seeing with some results at the moment, it's not a great time of the year to be getting stuck in.
It's a proceed with caution time of year.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The form needs time to settle down. Dan Skelton, for example, a lot of his horses are basically having their final gallop on track. That's what's basically happening, in my opinion, anyway. A lot of them are travelling very, very well into races and just not, finding as much as they normally would. Now, I know he doesn't have a runner in this, but I'm just giving an example. Anyway, look, I'm not going to bet in this race. I'm just going to watch it, but I'm going to put up Chasing Fire just because he's one of 2 that has guaranteed race fitness. And that's the only reason. He won his last race. He's got Sean Bowen riding, who is the best jockey in the UK. So I'm just going to keep it simple with that, Chasing Fire. But I have no idea who's going to win. Impossible.
It really is quite extraordinary just how good Sean Bone is. And you knew 2 out on Haughty Calore today he was going to win, despite the fact that Bill Baxter had the lead. You just knew he was going to win because it's Sean Bone, and he will not be denied in a finish. It's really quite extraordinary to see. Looking forward to reviewing that race with Lizzie Kelly and Daryl Jacob on Monday's Final Furlong podcast. 1:25. We're back on the flat at Doncaster for one last go on the turf from the flat in the UK. We've got the Wentworth Stakes listed company, 6 furlongs. Surely there's a horse in this race that just completely outclasses the field, and that's Montasib. Course and distance winner, won a Group 1 sprint last season, but he has no penalty to carry, and this is just his 3rd start of the season. He's won 3 of his 4 starts in soft ground, 5 of his 9 over 5 furlongs. He gets James Doyle for the first time, and he is £5 clear, top rated on time form. He is just a multiple banker. Surely, George Gorman.
I'd love to say so, but he's not the one I've landed on. Again, it's a funny time of year, and while he does come here fresher than most, I've not seen enough his last 2 starts to think he's suddenly going to pop up and win this, even at listed level. While it is a listed race, a lot of these are dropping down from Group 3, Group 2 company. It's actually quite a good race for the level. And is soft ground necessarily 100% his bag? I know he has won on it, but his last win, the Group 1 at Haydock, that was good ground in the Sprint Cup at Haydock, and he's obviously won the all-weather as well. I'm not sure it's 100% his thing. Whereas Apollo 1 receives, obviously runs off the same weight as him, but receives
£5. Sorry, George, I can see that smile. I know. I'll get to that later.
Peter, say nothing, Peter. Peter, no.
I'll say what I want.
Peter, no.
I'll say what I want.
No, Peter. I'm going to do you a favor. No.
There's no guy on me.
I'll bail you out. He was he receives £5 from Art Power and Spycatcher here. Art Power will obviously like the ground being soft, but again, it's just on weight adjusted ratings. Apollo 1's bang there with Spycatcher and Art Power. Arguably ran a career best last time at Ascot in the Ben Goff Stakes. And what could have brought that around? The soft ground coming back. RPR of 114, which is certainly the highest he's run to this season. Actually, it matches his win in the Ben Goff last year, also on soft ground. So I just think the horse that's currently running well, that's in the best form, and hard to argue he's upwardly mobile at 7, but I think the soft ground sort of brings him into it more than 1 or 2 of the others. And there's an argument that he didn't get the best of rides on one of these last time out there at Ascot. So hopefully Jockey will do better this time at 7-1.
And let's leave it at that, shall we? Peter Michael, Andy Newton, who are you with?
Look, the favourite should be winning this. I mean, I think it'll be all right on the soft ground. I think 2 of its 6 wins on the turf have been, we've given the underfoot. So, yeah, it's 2 from 2 on the all-weather. It's just one of those horses that sort of is okay pretty much on anything. And, like you say, no penalty here. Fresh, it's only had 2 runs. You can probably ignore that first one at Newbury. I think Haggis came out and said it probably might need that, and he ran all right at Ascot in the in that Champion Sprint Group 1. Back down massively in class here. And then the other one that probably might pop up at a big price is probably Balmoral Lady. I mean, I think she was second in this last year actually at a big price, 28-1, and probably lost her way a little bit at the sort of back end of this season, but started off the season all right, didn't she? Won that Achilles Stakes, I think, and that no half measures was I think behind her that day. So that's come out and won the July Cup in the the merry-go-round of the sprints we've had this season. So look, could bounce back Balmoral Lady at a big price, but I think Montasib's the safe call here, isn't he?
Okay, 2 for Montasib, 1 for Apollo 1. Who is Peter Michael with?
Well, Lake Forest, I think, runs this weekend, doesn't?
I'm right. Down under, yeah.
Lake Forest is back, yeah. William Haggis's wife, Maureen Haggis, had a lot to say about that ride. And I had a bit to say about Paul Moren's ride the last time on this Apollo 1. And I thought, in my opinion, it wasn't good enough, if I'm being honest. I thought he was extremely weak in the horse when the time should have been that he should have gone for the horse. And he would have won. So, in my opinion, he cost the horse.
If you stop waffling, we might get some work done. You're a waffler. You've been years around here waffling.
And to be honest, I'm surprised to see him back up on the horse again. But that's what you get with these, journeyman trainers as well, journeymen trainers. So for that reason alone, I'm going to leave him. I'm sure Paul will be strong as an ox on Saturday. But good luck to him. And if owners haven't learned and trainers haven't learned from the past race, well, then let's see if the same thing happens.
You should take your sack. You're a disgrace. You're all in the bottom of the barrel now. Coming out with that sort of a
Well, that's the
statement.
beauty about this podcast. We can say what we feel. We don't have to, we don't have to think something and want to say it, but not be able to say it. That's the beauty about this podcast, and that's why I like coming on here. So anyway, to be honest, I hope he gets stuffed, if I'm being honest. I do hope he gets stuffed. I won't be backing him. I tipped him up the last time, and an extremely weak ride, in my opinion, cost us victory. But I'm going to go for Muntasib here. James Stall, William Haggis, as you were saying, Emmet, that doesn't, he's well in the weights, and he's getting weight off the main rivals. He takes a lot of the boxes, so I'll be going for him, and hopefully he gets the job done.
I tried. I tried.
You tried to stop me from speaking my opinion?
No, I tried
Thank
to
you.
make you understand that there's a time and a place. But anyway, on you go. I will never criticize somebody for giving their opinion. If I ask somebody for their opinion and you were asked for your opinion on the race, I'm not going to criticize you for that opinion.
But is this not the time and place? We're talking about the race.
I think you've had the time and place. And
I have to talk. I have to preview the race. So anyway,
okay.
That's just my opinion on it. We'll move on.
Let us know in the comment section below. Don't poke the bear. Just leave it at that now. Thanks very much. Hey, by the way, this episode is brought to you by 1xBet. There are more than 7,000 events for you to bet on every single day in Ireland on the 1xBet website. Plus, very, very fast withdrawals and loads of new customer specials. You can find out more about the new betting company shaking things up in Ireland. If you are tired of how things are, check out 1xBet. Huge supporter of the Curragh. 11 races sponsored at the Curragh in just 2 months. And please God, lots more very exciting things for next year. You can find out more at 1xbet.ie. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1xBet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. Our next race, the third, as we race on through, is the 145 at Wincanton. This is a really nice touch. It's the Paul and Richard Barber Memorial Mares Handicap Hurdle. For obvious reasons, this is a race that Paul Nicholls, I'm sure, will want to win, and he's going for back-to-back wins in it. This time around, Jubilee Alpha is the one who will carry his Selk's, a horse that he really fancied at the Cheltenham Festival. It didn't quite happen for her there, but she did win at Cheltenham at the April meeting. He's got a 21% win strike rate with his horses so far this season, but some of them, George, do appear as though they need the run. So are you with the short price favourite Jubilee Alpha, or are you going to take her on?
Look, this race is really, really cut up. I had about 5 or 6 on my shortlist for this, and declarations came out, and the only one left in was Jubilee Alpha. I got this horse all wrong last year. I thought she looked like she was completely all speed all season, and then she rocked up to Cheltenham in April over 2 mile 4.5. I thought she'd get absolutely stuffed. Not only did she won, she beat a horse which, in my opinion, while he's not the most consistent in terms of winning, I think he was a very well handicapped horse, Le Pensionnaire. He was in my cheat sheet for Cheltenham, but he never actually showed up. But especially, I think it was second time in the cheat pieces that day. So less excuses than usual for that horse. I think it took a good one to beat her that day. And if I think that, I can hardly go against her here, continuing on like up in trip now up to 2 mile 5.5. I've just got to concede that Paul Nicholls knows a lot more about this horse than I do, and I think it'd be very hard to see her get beat here.
Okay, Paul Nicholls, Harry Cobden, they're going to have some big runners on Friday as well, including in the Halden Gold Cup, where Caif de Brule is going to make his comeback. Andy Newton, are you with or against the short price Paul Nicholls favourite?
Yeah, look, I am with it as well. Like George said, it has cut up a tad this race, and like you said, Emmet, they're going to want to win it for obvious reasons. It's probably worth pointing out they've got another runner in here as well, that Jenna Dudrees with Freddie Ginger riding, but you would have thought that the Harry Cobden ridden Jubilee Alpha brings the form into this race, and again, it stepped up in trip last time at Cheltenham, seemed to be the making of her. She is sure to have done a lot better over the summer as well. Course winner, won a flat race, I think, at Wincanton, maybe a couple of years ago or whatever. So, the course will be fine. The 12-stone burden is a little bit of a concern, but I just think there's more to come from Jubilee Alpha. And, in a race that is probably not a lot in here, really, it should be going to the favourite, really. I think Nichols won it last year as well, didn't he? So with that
Yeah.
large front lass, and he's won it 2018. So a couple of other sort of good signs as well. Yeah, favourite for me, unfortunately.
So she did win with 11 stone 10 on her back last season as well. I know it wasn't quite as good a race as this, but that Class 2 novice at Windsor, I think she had a penalty in, didn't she? So she ended up with 11 stone 10. So
Are you with her,
it's
Peter?
not unprecedented for her to carry weight.
Yeah, look, her form kind of stands out in this, but I mean, it's very hard to back a horse. I mean, you just said it there yourself, Emmet. Paul's horse is first time out this year so far. You know, most like they're a bit hit and miss. So, you know, it's carrying 12 stone. Then again, it's a race he'd probably like to win. So he might have the 2 in this a bit more forward than a lot of the others he's ran. So I don't know. I won't be backing her at that price. That's not because I don't fancy her. I think if she turns up 95% fit or 90% fit, she'll probably win. But short prices, first time out at this time of the year, is a very quick way to the poorhouse. Bet Page is one I'd respect as well. She's won fresh before. Emma Lavelle's horse is running well enough, so I'll probably put Bet Page up. But again, it's another race at this time of the year, you know. Fivers and tenors, no more.
Oh, it's multiples. It's a multiples weekend, in my opinion. 223 at Wincanton will stay at Wincanton over the jumps. There's another one where Paul Nicholls is going to have a red hot favourite. It's the Boodles Rising Stars Novices Chase, a grade 2. Blue King Doro will have his second start of offences. He wasn't always fluent. He jumped fine on Chase debut, but he was beaten by a horse that would be inferior to him over hurdles. Maybe this is one that just needed the first run over fences and will improve for it. But in Cobra Queen, he's going to take on a horse who's got the experience of having run 4 times over fences. She's won her last 2. And she might be difficult to peg back on the front end, George.
Yeah, but look, she's got a mountain to climb on ratings, isn't she? This would be the sort of race I'd have taken on Blue King Daru if there'd been a nice 4-year-old in here or something receiving a load of weight. But these horses are all a long way off Blue King Daru on what we've seen so far. And I understand the hesitation with him getting beat the last day, but plenty of Nicholses do take the odd chance first time out. They do so much. It's not loose schooling, but they school them in a very French style where sort of they're left to make their own decisions rather than the jockey interfering. And that can just mean they let fly the odd time early in their career. I think he'll have learned plenty from that. Like, he was a good jumper over hurdles. And to top it all off, I think the horse that beat him is a really, really nice horse. He was always bound to be much better for a fence. Like, I don't think the fact that he's got beaten by receiving weight from a horse rated his inferior, don't think sort of tells the whole story there. I think Risking the Ground is going to be a serious horse this year and probably will certainly end the season rated very similar to Blue King Daru, I would have thought. So I've got to go with the favourite again, unfortunately. I just think there's nothing that really takes my fancy. I'll be more inclined breaking cover if I was going to try and take on Blue King Daru because he's on a bit of a roll. He's got to take a step up here, but just the fact that he's so in form and clearly improving for a trainer like Anthony Honeyball, who does take his time with them. And he's off 127, but he won by 15 lengths the last day, so he could be anything realistically. But it's got to be Blue King Daru for me.
Okay, Andy, Paul Nicholls has won this race with Frodon, Modus, and Nappers Hill in recent years. Is Blue King Daru going to make it a 4th win in 11 years?
He should do really on the ratings and this, that, and the other. And like I say, Nicholls has got a great record. I think he's won 7 times in the last 18 overall. But I don't know. I mean, at 8 to 11, I think you'd have to be a little bit brave going in at that price. I mean, look, it's only won one of its last 8, I think, and that was only a headwind against one of your horses, wasn't it? George Salva back in Sandown Hurdles. And, it jumped okay, like you said, Emmet, last time out. Nothing spectacular, a few little errors in there, sure to improve for that. But you just worry that, it was 2 to 9 that day. And I don't know, I just think that Cobra Queen is probably going to get a little bit closer in the betting come sort of, race time. And, with all the, the weight factors and this, that, and the other, I think it's £7 it's got to find. Whereas I think Blue King Daru, look, we sort of know where we are with that one. Whereas this Cobra Queen, it's a little bit, I know, we don't know how to translate that Irish form. It's one at Tremor and was it Roscommon, I think. But the horse in behind that it slammed by 8 and whatever lengths, that Killer She, has come out and won since. So there is something there. And I think the third might have even come out and run second, a horse called How You're Loving, I think it was called. So there is something there. And look, Henry's bringing it over. James Bowen's been booked to ride. I mean, surely that's got to be the values, but, based on the fact that Blue King just doesn't really win enough for me. But, then you factor in Nicholls' record in the race and all that. So it's probably a no-bet race, but I think Cobra Queen's the value, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to throw Cobra Queen into some elaborate multiple this weekend. She's £9 clear on time form ratings. Now, that is chase ratings, and we've only got one evidence of looking to root. But I think he might not be the superstar people think he is. Peter, who are you with?
Yeah, another race again. I'll probably just watch. You boys have kind of nailed it. I think you've nailed it with your analysis. Blue King Daru obviously was a different class hurdler to Cobra Queen, but we've all seen what Henry can do with horses going from hurdles to fences. They can just, you can turn 120 hurdlers into 150, 160 chasers. So, and Henry's horses are absolutely flying. So, and obviously 99% of them over fences are, the way he gets them and teaches them to jump is just incredible. They're super jumpers. So he's going to put a lot of pressure on Blue King Daru's jumping. But I don't know, maybe class might win the day. It's a no-bet race for me. But if I was going to put one up, I'd probably put Blue King Daru. Obviously, he'd come on for that run last time and he'd have learned from a few mistakes he made. So I'm hoping class will get him over the line rather than jumping.
Okay, let's tackle the Grand National fences for our first trip to Aintree, shall we? Last year's winner, King Turgeon's going to run off a £12 higher mark for David Pipe. It's his first run off a wind-up. 5 of the last 11 winners of the Grand Sefton had run previously in the Topham Trophy, but 14 of the last 19 were jumping the Grand National fences for the first time because, well, they're just not quite what they used to be. 8 of the last 9 winners had run at least 10 times over fences, so experience counts for an awful lot. 14 of the last 19 winners had run in the last 4 weeks. Only 1 of the last 10 winners had done so, making their seasonal debut. That being said, I might like a horse making the seasonal debut in this race who could be suited with a bold front-running style. Who do you like in this race, George Gorman?
For me, look, while there are plenty of horses, like you say, that hadn't run in the race before, there are a few examples there of horses that have placed in it previously that go on to win it. Like Benny's missed for a turn third into first in 2014, 2015. Bo Bay did the same 2019, 2020. And Jess Gill was 2023's winner. I think it was he was second the year before for Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerrero, who have 2 in here. But Gaborio is the one I find most interesting, given that he finished third last year. He ran on well late on that day. Like he was almost sort of hunted round, given a look round, and let to finish off his race in style. He was 4.5 lengths behind King Turgeon that day. The fact he's £3 lower in the weights now means he's £15 better off with last year's winner. And I said we've never had a repeat winner, so that's against King Turgeon. And I was a little more against Gaborio a few days ago when he was about £4 or £5 out the weights, but he's well and truly in there now. I think he's off 10.6. So great racing weight. I think he's got double experiences. He ran the Aintree Fox Hunters as well. Season 4 last, I'm pretty sure. I think he ended up on the deck that day, but clearly learned his lesson placing in this last year. It's just that I can just pick holes in all the rest of them. I'm not sure. White Rhino's not been the greatest jumper last year. Johnny Who would be the second top weight to ever win it, and the first with 12 stone. I do. Furrow Bamboo would surely want it softer than this. I can just pick holes in all of them apart from Gaborio. I think he's really solid, and actually he's weighted to win it. So it'll be Gaborio for me.
Okay, that's a really, really strong pick for Gaborio. I'm going to take you on with Our Power, who was beaten 55 lengths when he tried the national fences in the Grand National itself in 2023. But last year, he got within 3 lengths of King Turgeon over 3 Mile 2 in December at Cheltenham. King Turgeon is £4 higher in the handicap. Our Power is £1 lower in the weights. He hasn't tried this trip since 2022, but he did win twice over 2 Mile 4 as a novice chaser. His bold front-running style could be really well suited to this race. The fact that he's making a seasonal debut is a bit of a negative, given the fact that horses making their seasonal debut have only won 1 of the last 10 runnings. But Sam Thomas's horses are in unbelievable form. He's won with 5 of his last 8 runners, including his last 4 runners have all gone and won. So I'm hoping he just bounces out, makes all, and wins, with Dylan Johnston claiming a valuable £3 off. Who are you with, Andy Newton?
I'm with someone else actually that you guys are not with. So look, I agree with Johnny Who. I mean, I don't think it's even won over fences yet. Is it 0 from 5? So, and it just doesn't win enough for me. I mean, it's got, it's been sort of battered around for a lot of these sort of handicaps over the years. Last year at Cheltenham and so on. King Turgeon, that's going to make a bold bid, but it is, he is up £12, like George said. Gaborio, that is certainly one for the short list. I do think that that will run on well, lightweight. Just a little niggle for me that his last wins have been in hunter chases, and over a year or so ago now as well. So, but that is weighted to go well. I think Gaborio. So I think he is certainly one for the short list. Goes well fresh as well. But look, I think White Rhino is the one here. I know that his jumping is a little bit funny, but the Green Guerrero Yard won this a couple of years ago, and the fresh record for White Rhino, I think this is the time to catch him. He's won first time out 2023 and last year as well. So I think these fences will potentially suit him. And who's he got on board?
Sean Bone.
When I saw his name booked 2 days ago, I was like, we need to do the podcast now, because this is the one. This is the one this weekend. And I think he was about 8-1 a couple of days ago. Now everyone's sort of probably cottoned on, and we might have missed the boat a little bit, because it's now it's going to be favourite. I can't see it not going off favourite. Now Bowen's been booked. Down in Trip, who's won this race a couple of times before as well? Mr. Sean Bowen. So he knows his way around these Aintree fences in this race. So yeah, White Rhino.
I think he's the winning most jockey in the race.
He could be, yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah, you're right. And he's won it a couple of times with a couple of Nichols horses, I think, back in the day. Yeah. So anyway, look, I'm pretty strong on White Rhino, to be honest with you.
So much so you're almost persuading me to jump off our power and just go at White Rhino.
Peter, the Rhino's going to charge home.
Peter Michael, who do you like?
I don't really fancy White Rhino, if I'm being honest. Sorry, Andy, but you always get the better of me in these things. So I know, obviously, he's 5-1, so more than likely, I'll be proven right. So the pressure's on me by saying that. I just think he's reached his mark. But of course, the booking of Sean Bowen has to be a positive. And the Greenos and Guerrero, they're a great combination as a trainer. So they know the time of day. So that would have me worried, not fancying him, but they have booked Sean Bowen. And he did bleed the last time he ran, so I would be worried. But look, I completely see where you're coming from with the booking of Sean Bowen. Everything must, all the boxes must be ticked for Saturday. I'm going to focus on the first three last year. King Turgeon, Gaborio and Vintage Fizz. I see no reason why King Turgeon shouldn't run a good race again. Gaborio was a horse I thought was going to go on from this race last season. He was third in it, but I was very disappointed with him in his 3 runs after that. I know he was third 2 runs ago, but he just didn't seem the horse to me that I expected him to be. Obviously, he's trained by the same trainer as the same trainers as the favourite White Rhino. I'm hoping that something was a little bit amiss with him and they found out, because if they have, he's quite attractively handicapped off 124. They've put the blinkers back on him. He's only ran twice with it. They've taken the cheek pieces off. I don't know what to expect with him, but at 10-1, I'd definitely be putting something on him, because he could be quite well in. And Vintage Fizz was the other one as well. He's 20-1. They came first, second and third in it last year. And I think the 3 of them will run decent enough races. And, I'll go for King Turgeon and Gaborio as my main 2, but I wouldn't rule out Vintage Fizz either.
I really consider Vintage Fizz. He's running off the £3 mark lower than last year as well, and he gets Sam Tristan Davis for the second time.
Yeah,
so
that course can just light up horses, yeah.
So it's worth noting as well, when Emmet was saying about horses that have had a run going into this race, I looked down the list and go, well, all of them that have had a run already this season are crap, apart from Vintage Fizz.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it.
Well,
Vintage Fizz is the only one that's got a prayer that's had a run before, so maybe we should all be backing him. He'd certainly be the second string. I'll probably back both of them, to be fair.
He's put 2 bad runs together. I know there's a bit of distance time-wise between them, but I'm just going the fact that he's only ran once in this course and he ran a pretty good race. And we all know these fences can just light up horses. So they're the first 3 from last year.
Okay, this episode is brought to you by 1xBet. More than 7,000 opportunities for you to bet with different markets every single day on the 1xBet website in Ireland. You get fast withdrawals and loads of new customer specials as well. You can learn more now by checking out the 1xBet website in Ireland, 1xBet.ie, 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xbet. A thrilling renewal of the elite hurdle as Rubo goes for 3 consecutive wins in the race. Who's going to prevent him from winning his hat-trick? Could it be Hamlet's Night, Tax for Mask, or Frere des Armes? Basically, how far does Rubo win by George Gorman?
Yeah, this is a joke, isn't it? Basically, I think what was the entries? We had 9. Was it? I think total. I think we had 9 entries. One didn't have a hurdles mark. I think it was he had Calico entered to potentially just pick up a bit of prize money. Well, and a few David Power points as well, I imagine. But
that's over. They got rid of that.
Yeah. Oh right. Of the 8 that had that were entered, I think 5 of them were rated in the 120s. Like, it's just appalling. Where are the English 2-mile hurdlers? Like,
there aren't any. Aside from arguably the best one in training, Constitution Hill. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, they're going on the flat. He's 20 pounds clear on official ratings. Never mind time for him.
You could argue, geez, if Hamlet's Night gets anywhere near him, Give It To Me OJ is obviously even better than we all hope he is. So that's the only thing. I'll be cheering on Hamlet's Night, hoping that he can stuff Rubo. It means we've got an absolute rocket on our hands. But this is down in trip as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the Masters 2-4, is it?
Yeah, mile 7.
Yeah, geez. Okay, yeah, so absolutely. No, I'm not sure about that. But I think even if he hadn't had a run, you'd be saying Rubo was a certainty. And there's the fact he's had a tune-up run and he won. Yeah, just however many lengths you want. There's no case to be made for the others. If the lads can, then fair play. But this is done.
There is no such thing as a certainty in the world of horse racing, Andy Newton. But if you put 90 on, you're going to win 20.
Yeah, and there will be some people out there that will be doing exactly that. I mean, like you say, it's one of the last 2, Rubo, and he has gone exactly the same route as last year as well, winning at Kempton before taking this, and he was quite slick and impressive winning at Kempton last month, and it will be more of the same. Forecast, obviously Hamlet's Night is going to be the one everyone's going to be playing there.
It'll pay nothing. There's no point. He wins. Are we just putting this fella in the multiples? Yeah, we're just putting him in the multiples, Peter. We're just leaving it at that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, he's probably too short to be even put in multiples. I mean, is it even worth putting in there? Because, if it falls,
as long as Cobden stands up, if you've got 90 quid on your double, then you've now got an extra 20 going on to whatever your accumulator is, or he's the last leg of it. Like, surely he just wins, Peter.
Yeah, the forecast. Well, I know it's not going to pay much, but I mean, it might pay 2 to 9, 6, but probably 2 of them will probably go down in price, I'd say, because the other 2 don't have a hope, even if they start now. The forecast looks now long Rubo to beat Hamlet's Night. I have no idea what it'll pay because I don't know what the SP will be. Yeah, there's no point talking anymore.
Don't complicate your mind. Rubo in the winner's enclosure. Back to the flat, where Danielle is going to be favourite for the Good Bet EBF Gillies Fillies Stakes listed race over 10 furlongs. Soft ground, good to firm ground at Wincanton, soft ground at Doncaster. All right. Danielle is 6-4 as she drops in class from her 5-length defeat to Kalpana in the Group 1 on Champions Day. Anna Swan for William Haggis is a really interesting runner. She's a horse I like, and she shaped well behind running line the last day. But El Wateen did the vast majority of her racing in 3 consecutive Group 1s this season. She took on Desert Flower and got within 2/4 of a length of her in the 1,000 guineas. Probably the Oaks was just a little bit too far for her. First of all, it was her 3rd lifetime start, and secondly, she was stretched out to 12 furlongs for the first time. And then she just did not run a race at all in the Falmouth Stakes, beaten 12 lengths by Cinderella's Dream. But she was hampered late on, a furlong out, dropped to listed company for the first time, and that was after 11 weeks off. Back up to 10 furlongs. Kevin Stott rides for the first time. I think El Wateen will go well here. I'll take her each way at 5-1. Who do you like, George?
Yeah, the favourite is sort of clear on ratings in here. So it's not a race I've got a huge interest in, to be honest. This, especially like Fillies at this time of year. Yeah. They can do funny things. I've certainly got no interest in backing a 15-8 favourite, no matter how well in it is at the weights. The only one that maybe I tell you I would do, I'd chuck a couple of quid each way at Carmology, because actually not that far away on the weights. What's she? £5.98. Yeah, so she's got a bit to find on at the weights, but she's in good form. She's got form on soft ground. However much she's been running mostly on quicker surfaces recently. I think she won on soft ground as a 2-year-old, and I think she won on good to soft last season. And by Golden Horn, she should be fine. I just think she won a Group 3 last time out. She's in form. She's not been out of the first 3 in her past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starts. 25 to 1's probably a bit too big for that horse, and you'll get loads of extra places from the look of how many runners. So I'd chuck a small each way bet on Carmology.
Okay. Andy Newton, your thoughts?
Danielle was a horse that I did like last season, and she just hasn't quite progressed. I mean, everyone's thought like, the soft ground will bring the best in her, and then she's just been turned over like I don't know, like I think 4 times as favourite now, hasn't she? And no winning. I think it's 8. But then you look at the last run against Kalpana, and you know Group 1 stepping down, and you think, well, obviously, and the weights top rated here, 110. Certainly the one to beat, but as you say, Fillies at this time of year. Anna Swan is one of these classic ex-stout ones, and Sheedy Park won it last year with a strange, didn't they? So they might have something there, and like you say, Albertine's got the form in the book as well to sort of run a big race. Beckett's won it a few times in the last 5 years, and he's got that perfect your craft who's got bundles to find on the ratings, isn't she? But I just think she was entered in the November Handicap a few days ago, and they've pulled it out and prefer the harder race, if you like. Of course, a distance winner. Just might be a little bit more to come. She's only had 5 runs, won 3 of them, and at 12 to 1 in a race that hasn't got a lot of depth to it, it's a bit of a sort of game of 2 halves with the first 3 in the market. Might be worth something there, a little each way on Perfected Craft, but yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, again, a race I wouldn't be getting too heavily involved in, but I'd be focusing on the top 2 in the betting, Danielle and Anna Swan. But I think the favourite was probably the one to beat here. 10 furlongs in soft ground, I think, is what she needs. She's only had 3 runs this season, so it's not a case that she could be over the top. She shouldn't. So yeah, she sets a solid standard here. So, and she's a 4-year-old. She gives £3 to Anna Swan. Yeah, I think Danielle will probably be hard enough to beat in this. And if there's a danger, it could be Anna Swan.
Back to the jumps. Wincanton, the 64th Badger Beers Handicap Chase. Paul Nichols hasn't won this since 2019, but he has won 6 since 2010 and 11 in total. 300 through 5 has been a big gamble during the week. Goes well fresh. He's won 4 of his 9 starts and placed on the other 4 off a layoff of 60 days or more. His best form comes on right-handed tracks. He was second in this race 2 years ago. Good to firm ground is just bizarre, and it would be a question for him and a number of others, but I think he'll go well, George.
Yeah. It's tricky. 300 through 5 is a very hard horse to predict, isn't he? The first start after a window. He'd be interesting. I can't believe this is... The other races, they can cut up any year, but the fact that this race has so few runners is really, really sad, to be honest. I understand why. Like the firm ground, obviously, this sort of horses that are running in this race tend to be... Well, we've got 4 10-year-olds in it, even though we've only got 7 runners. You're talking older horses with plenty of miles on the clock. Not many people willing to risk them on this sort of ground at the start of the season anyway. The one horse I think with the bit of
apologies. Frodon won this in 2022. What the hell was I talking about? Never mind. He's an absolute good thing, George. An absolute stone cold solid moral. He can't get beat 300 through 5. 11 runners, 10 runners in the last 3 runnings, by the way.
Yeah, it's been going down. It's been on its way out, isn't it, this race a little bit. But look, the horse with a bit of back class, and the trip is a big question. But it interests me that they are trying the trip. Soul Icon does have that bit of back class. Like, beat Edwardstone off a mark of 143 in a handicap chase. What's that race called? The Desert Orchid.
Yeah.
Beat Edwardstone off a pound lower than this in a handicap. And I know it was a small runner field, but the second to mark a gold at Exeter ended up looking pretty good. I think he won again afterwards, didn't he, mark a gold? And that was off a pound higher than this. You're well weighted and you're getting a decent price. You got the very handy £5 off it. I've got to say, Toby McCain-Mitchell, I think, is the best conditional riding at the moment. He's really, really impressed me. That race at Ascot at the weekend, I just tuned in and saw the closing stages, and it was only looking at, like, the other two lads, obviously very capable in their own right, but Toby McKay-Mitchell looked like a professional against conditional, so he's very, very impressive. If he stays the trip, he's excellent value. And I just think I'd rather take a chance that he's going to stay the trip and that Kieran Burke has a good idea he's going to stay the trip, rather than going, is 3 under through 5 going to fancy this today at 10-3? That's because he's the best horse in the race if he tries. But Jesus, if it was at Ascot, maybe. But I just think I'd rather take a chance on a horse like Soul Icon, who has the class, has a very good jockey on board, taking £5 off that he's well worth. I just think I've got to take a chance on him.
Andy, who are you going to take a chance on?
I'd be worried about the trip with Solak. I know what you're saying, and actually, it's an interesting stat with the claimers in this, and he's the only one in the race. 7 of the last 13 winners have been ridden by a claiming jockey, so might be something there. 20 of the last 22 have been aged 9 or younger as well, which knocks out 300 through 5 and that Gustavian as well. But I just think because the race is cut up a little bit, and the stats are probably a little bit out the window here. It's a shame, really. And Art of Diplomacy, I mean, that's gone up, £26, been a busy horse over the summer, took a bit of a crashing fall last time out, probably would have won again, actually, to be honest with you, off the same mark. So that is interesting if that fall, hasn't impacted him. I think it was it Chepstow? But I just think I 300 through 5. I mean, you can't knock the Nichols form in this. Like you say, he's won it 11 times. And I think, last time, in the National and in the Bet365 Gold Cup, was just a little bit too far for, trip-wise. Had a wind up and, back down in trip. It runs between sort of 3 miles and 3 mile 2 have been 2-2, 1-3-2. So, the drop back and trip is key, and he's got form in this race, coming, second a couple of years ago. So, 300 through 5 looks the safest in a shocking Badger Beers renewal for me.
Frodon was 10 and he carried 12 stone when he won it. I know Frodon was a classier horse, but this is not going to take a whole lot of winning.
Frodon tried. Very, very hard.
Yeah, there's that too. Peter, for you?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting race. The fact that Art of Diplomacy, I think, has won 6. Is it 6 in a row over fences? Or let me just see this. Hold on. Yeah, and fell last time, but he's kind of gone up. Well, not kind of. He's gone up in the weights. He's done his winning summer jumping. Obviously, I know his last 2 wins were in September, so he had a little break there. There weren't, you'd probably still call it summer jumping, yeah. So he's kind of gone up the ratings against much, much lesser horses. So all of a sudden now he's off 137 against proper 150, 140 horses. It's a total different ball game. But in saying that, he ticks a lot of boxes. He'll go on the ground. He's in form. He'll stay. So it's kind of hard to decide if he's the one to beat or if he's got a lot to do. So, but I'd put him as possibly the one to beat, because if he's going to beat these type of horses, it'll be on Saturday when he's got match fitness. And I agree with George. I think Soul Icon is definitely interesting at 8-1 and goes well enough fresh. Jockey's good value for his 5. Will he stay? I think there's a good chance on this ground that he will. He's by 60s Icon. They stay all day. He mightn't stay, especially first time out. It might be a bit of an ask for him to get home, but I think he's the wrong price. I think he's more of a 5-1 shot for this race. So I'll put up Art of Diplomacy and Soul Icon.
Okay.
I think with those 2 horses, it's important to mention the ground particularly as well, because it's good to firm ground and give them every chance of getting 3 mile 1, wouldn't it? And in terms of Art of Diplomacy, he's undoubtedly the best equipped for this ground in the field, because it's an unusual renewal, being 7 runners anyway. But some are jumping ground. It's going to be rattling out there, and some of these winter horses are not going to like it one bit. Like, I can see the likes of Tommy Bow and Credo.
He's an Archie Penko. He'll love the ground. All right, last race, 3:45 is the November handicap. Last go on the flat for the turf. We're over 12 furlongs. Castle Cove is your favourite, but are you with him, George?
That's a good question. Sorry, my computer's just stopped a second there. Yeah, come back to me.
Are you with them, Andy Newton? I quite like Hopewell Rock, but who are you with? Lord Melbourne going for back-to-back wins.
Yeah. Lord Melbourne, I think we put it out last year. It might have even been enough.
You did.
Yeah,
I had the second again. You do me, Andy.
Yeah,
always.
More importantly, you boys had the forecast.
We might.
What happened to Waxon Gibbius? Does anyone know, or Gibbons or whatever his name was? I was second in that race. Waxon Gibbius.
I don't know.
Is he sold?
Andy, who's going to win this race?
Well, look, I think I'm not sure if there's ever been a back-to-back winner, but I think there might be now. I think Lord Melbourne. I think he's interesting. That Beckett had 3 in this earlier in the week. He's come down on 2. I'm not sure about his other one, that Master Vintner. It does look interesting, that one, but I think that the lack of experience is going to be the undoing there. And I think the form of that last win on Your Weather has taken a few knocks. So Lord Melbourne, look, it's gone up, something like £13 since last year. It's only run once, but that was at Epsom, bolted up there, probably won too far. And he was probably, Luke Dace was on that day, and he was probably getting a little bit of a rapping afterwards, going, why are you winning so far? Because he's gone up like 6, 7, 8, £9, I think, from that Epsom run, but it will be fresh. So I think Lord Melbourne, we know it likes this race, and it's probably just, look, Grey Cuban is another one. Watch its last race back, all right? The trip might be a bit of a unknown. I think it was over mile 2, and I'm not sure it's ever won this far, but you just got to watch that last race back, that Grey Cuban people, because it was leading, then it was falling out the back of the telly, and then suddenly he went again, and I don't think the whip was even used at all. Ross Orion's been booked, so that is an interesting one, and it's a course winner, and it's probably just worth mentioning One for the Gutter as well, only because it was 3rd last year off 91. It's up a little bit, but it's well better off with Lord Melbourne. So like £14 better off for coming 3rd last year to Lord Melbourne. So yeah, I think Lord Melbourne's one for the Gutter is a big price, but just watch that Grey Cuban race back and you think, are they up to something there?
One for the Gutter is a minimum 20 to 1, and Grey Cuban has come in 14 to 1. Will break from stall 18. Hopewell Rock is the one for me. Runner up in his last 2 starts, including over 10 furlongs, 2 starts back at this track. He's up £5 for his defeat last time out over this trip, but he's lightly raced. He's only had the 5 starts. The horse in 3rd the last day is owned by the King. He's bolted up in a handicap off a mark of 90 for the Gosdens, and hopefully conditions are going to suit Hopewell Rock. George?
Yeah, I actually think both of Gary's horses have small chances in this. Afston Warrior, I'll start with him, has been absolutely done no favours by the handicapper. He's got up £19 winning 2 races, which I think is an absolute disgrace. I will say is ridiculous. You got no chance, have you?
No.
Ashley Lewis does take £5 back off, which is very handy, but he's still gone up a stone for winning 2 races. You love conditions. I think I give him a small chance, but I'll be more in on Miller Spirit, who obviously ran in the race last year, was beaten 3 lengths by Lord Melbourne into 6th, comes back here off £8 lower. Toby Moore takes another £7 off, so he's actually running off £15 lower than he was in the race last year. Toby Moore was obviously very inexperienced still at the minute, but to be honest, has really impressed me. He's come right out for us when he was only small, and the improvement since he's been at Charlie Appleby's is massive. Absolutely massive. He's had a couple of horses that have tried to hang around in front with him. He's been really strong to straighten them up. Look, I'm not going to put the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he's exceeded expectations so far, is what I'd say. And Miller Spirit will love conditions. If there's any more rain before this, even better. If it ends up going heavy, I'd have a big bet on him. Especially given he was disqualified the last day. He was only going to be beaten a short head, and he goes off the same mark again here. Miller Spirit for me each way.
Okay, it's a big double-figure price, in fact, and that really would be some story if Ryan Moore's son ends up winning a big race at the end of the season. Okay, Peter Michael, land the plane. Who wins the last?
Just that Miller Spirit. I think he weighed in £15 light the last time. I fancied him the last time, and I was cheering him on. I tipped him up and I backed him, and I thought he possibly should have won, but Jesus, if he couldn't win £15 light, he might find it hard. But then again, he's a horse that, probably didn't put it all in. So, yeah, he could run well. I could see that. But look, I'd be focusing on Ralph Beckett here, Lord Melbourne and Master Vintner. I like his 2 in this. I think Lord Melbourne's probably the one to beat, but I'll be advising a bet on both of them, and maybe a small reversed exactor forecast. I think he's got the key to this race. And an outsider that could run well is the Harry Fry horse, Metier. He's 33 to 1. Booked a good £5 claimer from Ireland, Nicola Burns. The trip might be in the short side for him at this stage of his career, but he's got the class to, run well off a mark of 95, and 33-1 is a big price for that horse.
It's just quickly, on a stats, it's worth mentioning just the draw in this race, just quickly. All of the last 10 have been 8 or higher, and 18 of the last 21 have been 8 or higher. So it might be something just to bear in mind when you're doing your selections there, if that trend continues.
Okay, factor that into your picks. All right, your naps for the weekend, boys. Who are your best bets of the weekend, beginning with George Gorman?
Can't do any of the shorties, can I?
Rubo!
I'm tempted by Jubilee Alpha, to be honest. I know it's very short, but I think she just wins. Let's go Jubilee Alpha. I'll go next best Soul Icon.
Peter Michael.
I'm going to go for a horse. I don't know what price would be. Mightn't be much of a price, but it's a certainty. It's running in Munich in the 240. I really like this horse. I think this horse.
Munich?
Yeah, I think this.
That's the first for the podcast, surely.
Rebels Romance.
I think this horse could be an arc horse next year. That's how highly I think of this horse. Convergent. I really like this horse.
Absolute solid moral.
Yeah, hopefully you might get a bit of 4 to 5 or evens. I don't know, but just put what you want on it. It'll win.
Absolute stone cold. Gamble responsibly. Absolute stone cold solid moral. That's a Group 1 horse for next season. Convergent. Absolute certainty.
And that's running, what Saturday? Is it, Peter? Or when
Saturday, Munich 240. I don't know. There's no odds. You might get evens. I don't know. I don't know how to weigh up the form, but I just know this is a serious animal.
Monster of a horse. He beat Dubai Honor and Yellow Jersey last time out. And if you've listened to this podcast for long enough, you'll know that Adam Mills is an absolutely amazingly big fan of Yellow Jersey, and I'm a huge fan of Convergent. He'll win. Andy Newton?
Nap is going to be White Rhino in the Sefton for Sean Bowen. Goes well fresh. Bit of a gamble with the fences. I think the next best will be Lord Melbourne. Did us a favour last year. And I think 3-5 only because it's a shocking renewal. So White Rhino, Nap, Lord Melbourne, MB, 3-5 as your third next best, if you like, whatever.
I can't remember if Peter Michael said that his favourite jockey is booked to ride or not, but William Buick is going to ride Convergent.
Oh, no, hold on. William Buick gave notable speech at Cracker.
Oh, yeah.
I just say it how it is. That's all. He gives some very good rides and some well under par rides, like we all do.
Plus, Peter Michael met William Buick's sister at the Curragh at the weekend. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening. My nap of the weekend, I'm going to say patent on Montasib, Impost Trois, and 300-5. And if I had to go for a nap at a bit of a price, I'll go for Impost Trois because I think he's too big a price. But make it a lucky 15 with Convergent. And there's a couple of the other ones. Do you know what? I'll throw our power into there as well. Let's make it a lucky 63, a lucky 31, shall we? In fact, lucky 63. El Wateen, 300-5, Our Power, Convergent, Montasib, Impost Trois. We will see you in Dubai, or at least the Dublin Racing Festival. From Peter Michael, George Gorman, and Andy Newton, smash a like on this video if you haven't already. W's in the chat. Hopefully you've been with us for a few winners. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button to this episode already or to the podcast, please do so now. It's a massive help to us.
Sorry, one thing, Emmet. Just want to say hi to the lads we met, Benji and Ronan. Sound lads.
With sound guys, indeed. We hung out with them for quite a fair bit. They handed over the trophy for the 1xBet maiden to Ross O'Sullivan the last race of the Curragh this season, so the boys really enjoyed themselves. And Carol Ann, one of our other winners, and Connor, you should have come over and said hello. You would have had a few free drinks in the winners' enclosure. You probably would have presented. There was a free bar afterwards as well. Yeah, a huge thank you to the team at the Curragh. They looked after us brilliantly, as they always do. We really enjoyed that. And a huge thanks to 1xBet as well. If you have not checked out 1xBet already in Ireland, check it out now. 1xBet.ie, more than 7,000 betting events for you to get involved in every single day. Fast withdrawals, which is the most important thing. New customer specials. Find out more at 1xBet.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. One bet ahead. That's 1xBet. We'll see you again on Monday with Daryl Jacob and Lizzie Kelly to break down the weekend. From Peter Michael, George Gorman, Andy Newton, and me, Emmet Kennedy, look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast. Independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.